please talk to us. Thank you.
Namaste and welcome to all of you. So happy to be part of HCI and its very worthy goals of making the Hindu Dharma available to everybody and its vision and its way of life available to everybody. And this is just wonderful. And I thank Gauravji for inviting me. Last time we were all able to be together, but now we are together in a different way, but still it is it is in keeping with the times. This is what is possible, and in a way it is even more intimate, I think, because if this 1 year has taught us anything, it is learning to be comfortable with ourselves, learning to be comfortable in our own skin, and learning to be less and less dependent on things from outside to keep us entertained, to keep us in a good mood, and to uh, power us up. So this is one of the blessings of the coronavirus, which is directly pertinent to our session today. That's why I keep calling it the Karuna virus, the virus of compassion, because it has helped us to do the impossible, which all the sages and saints from time immemorial, the message of the Upanishad, the message of the saints in all traditions, go within, go within, go within, which could not be accomplished. Now, in 1 year, this Karuna virus, which is a very interesting avatara of Bhagavan, has helped us to achieve. And this has helped us to achieve so many things. And the most pertinent one is this this very intriguing injunction in the Veda to go within. And what does that mean? And how to do that? We will have some time to explore that today. um, I really liked Gauravji's introduction to this session, where he said that that as chaplains, as people who are helping everybody um, to focus and to face different aspects in their life, we will come across situations where we have to help people to go within. Now, that is what is called meditation. And it, even though by no means it is unique to the Hindu tradition, the Hindu tradition has something very, very unique to offer in terms of what this meditation is all about. We'll have a chance to explore that. Now, the the injunction to go within and meditation in general, it cannot be taught unless we are practicing it ourselves. This is also something Gauravji also talked about, and this is very important because it's just like therapy. You cannot become a therapist just by reading books. You read what is that, Freud, you read Carl Jung, you read some of the other modern people, psychologists, psychiatrists, and then you see your first, you put your shingle, hang your shingle, and you see your first patient. Not possible. That's why, no matter in which state, one of the requirements to graduate into becoming a counselor, or and to becoming a psychotherapist of any kind, is to undergo therapy yourself. Yes, you can read all about transference, you can read all about projections, but unless you have a chance to experience that and work on it yourself, then it is not, it is of no use. So therefore, so therefore today's session will have a component on where we actually meditate for some time. So that will be about half of the session, and the other half will be explaining what this is all about, especially from the standpoint of the Hindu Dharma. Now, in other so having said this, let us launch into the talk itself. So, in many traditions, as I said, meditation is there, and then even in the Hindu Dharma, it is there. But the main thing separating acts of meditation and the theory of meditation from other traditions and the Hindu Dharma is the fact that in the Hindu tradition the meditation is extremely, in fact solely, God centric. This is something Ishvara centric. And I say that because the definition of meditation in the Shastra itself is this: Saguna Brahma Vishaye Manasa Vyaparah. I'm going to write this and then I'll translate this also. I'll write it in the chat pod so you can look at it. Okay? Saguna Brahma Vishaye Manasa Vyaparah. Vyapara. So, Vyapara means activity. Manasa Vyapara means mental activity. So, meditation is mental activity. Okay. Mental activity means I could be daydreaming, correct? I could be daydreaming or thinking that I'm going to win the lottery, or I could be cursing somebody. That is also kind of a mental activity, saying, I don't, why did this person do this to me, I don't like this person, etc. So therefore it is not just mental activity. The mental activity vishaye means the subject matter for which, the topic of for which is what? Sagunam Brahma. Sagunam Brahma means Bhagavan, Brahman, which is as though endowed with attributes. And what kind of attributes? The attributes means power, Maya Shakti. And so Brahman endowed with the power to project the universe, the power to sustain this universe, and the power to take back, to resolve the universe, and the power to control to be manifest as the laws of the universe, and the Niyanta, the controller of everything. This is what is Sagunam Brahma. And from the standpoint of the individual, this Bhagavan, this Ishvara, this Sagunam Brahma is so far away, not locally available. That's why the Upanishads always refer to Brahman as Tat, that, the preposition that, not this right here available. And so, because locally not available, you see the names, you see the forms, but you don't see Bhagavan. But without without Bhagavan, no name, no form can exist. And starting with one's own body, mind, sense complex, nothing can exist, nothing can thrive, nothing can move. We know this from studying the overarching philosophy of the Hindu tradition. And so therefore the meditation means connecting to Ishvara mentally. Then one may ask, what is the need for connection? And this question can be asked from two standpoints. One is, if everything is Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam, everything that is here, known and unknown, is pervaded by Ishvara, why should I connect? That means what? I'm already connected. If I'm already connected, why should I connect? That's an important question. And usually children ask it. If Ishvara is everywhere and everything, why should I go to the temple? Why should I pray? And then who am I praying to? Am I praying to myself? This is a very interesting question. So then the next question also is there, very pertinent question. So the first one is, of course, if Ishvara is, if I'm already connected, then why should I pray? Why should I have this mental connection? What is the purpose of this? Then that is one question. The second question is, if I am disconnected, the flip side of it, because why should I be disconnected? Because I feel disconnected. disconnection from the source of the universe is the cause of sorrow, fear, pain, etc. This is the disconnection. So the disconnection from this is the cause of sorrow, fear, and all things that go under the rubric, under the umbrella of the definition of samsara. This is what it is. So this disconnection, this sense of separation from Ishvara, starting with a sense of awe. Oh, Ishvara is everything, and I am nothing, and Ishvara is so far away, and Ishvara has so many powers, and I am powerless, and Ishvara is this, Ishvara is that, and I am so far away. That disconnection. So if this disconnection is real, then no matter how much mental activity I have, the subject matter for which is Bhagavan, it will be of no use. And then if this disconnection is unreal, then what's the point of doing this? So therefore we say that this disconnection is a notion. It is not real. And then at the same time you cannot dismiss it as unreal. You know why? Because it is deeply experienced, and I cannot negate my experience. This experience is a funny thing. This experience of alienation, separation from the Jagat, from the world, separation from other people in the world, other jivas, and separation from the source of the universe, Ishvara, is something which is experienced. Because it is experienced, I cannot negate it, and again, because it is experienced, because it is experiential, I cannot affirm it as my reality either. This is what is called mithya. That which cannot be categorically affirmed or categorically denied. So this beach may in between thing, cannot be affirmed, cannot be denied, but then therefore this sense of alienation. This alienation or separation causes anxiety and sorrow. That's why we call it separation anxiety. Starts at 2, where is mummy? Where is daddy? And then even at 92, one is searching for a sense of connection. This separation anxiety that begins at the age of 2 is where the child is aware of the missing its parents, cannot be resolved until one discovers the parents of the universe and connects to them. Jagatah pitarau vande Parvati Parameshwarau, Kalidasa said beautifully. I bow to the parents of the universe in the form of Parvati and Parameshwara. And so therefore the need for meditation, the first need is to dismiss, is to neutralize, is to query this sense of disconnection, is to repair this sense of disconnection. That is where the loneliness comes from, that is where the sorrow comes from, that is where the feeling nobody understands me comes from. That is where the feeling of being unmoored comes from. That is where the sense of insecurity comes from. No matter how much I accomplish, no matter what I do, no matter what I produce, it is never enough. On to the next and the next and the next, and it's never, never, never enough. This is where it all comes from. And so therefore this sense of alienation, and I call it the notion of alienation because it is not completely real. If it was real, it would be there in sleep. It would be there in all the 3 states of being. Sleeping, dreaming, waking, it would be there. Because that which is real is unchanging. But that's not the case. In sleep, nobody feels alienated. You are in the lap of Ishvara. You are one with Ishvara. There is oneness. That's why it is very difficult to awaken from sleep. Very difficult to awaken from sleep. Nobody wants to get up. Why? Because you're enjoying that non-alienation. except that in the moment of this enjoyment, the mind has retreated to a causal state and you're not able to articulate it. In the enjoyment of sleep is best done by recollecting it in hindsight in the waking state. But that doesn't mean that there is no oneness in sleep. In sleep, there is total oneness. And even the pramata, the knower, retreats to a causal state, so one cannot really say that I am, I am one with everything, because if you are being able to talk and articulate I am one with everything, then there is already a sense of separation. So now, this is very interesting. So now this alienation during the waking state alone is felt painfully. And therefore, the meditation is a way to do this U-turn, pun intended. You have to turn back to yourself, and it's a turning from focusing on anatma, not I. Because everything that you can objectify, not I, not I, not I, not I. So where is this I? Again, not locally available. This body is I, yes, but I am much more than the body. The mind is, of course, I. The I envelops the mind, but it transcends the mind. The I envelops the senses, but it transcends the senses. And so, where is this I? The one who is looking for is the I. The looking for the I is the I. That which cannot be seen is the I. The seer is the I. The content, the truth of the seer is the I, even when there is nothing to witness or nothing to see. So this I has to be understood and discovered as non-separate from the maker, the creator of the Jagat. And so therefore the meditation is an important interruption to duality, where one is able to connect deeply with the truth of oneself. Because the meditation is like a homecoming, or maybe I should call it homecoming. And so you are at home when you are one with the truth of Om. And in sleep it is effortless, it naturally happens. And during the day we stave off the local sources of sorrow and and strife through meditation. That's why one of the saints called the Hari Nama Japa. So the Japa in the form of taking Ishvara's name mentally through any Ishta Devata, Hari, Shiva, etc. doesn't matter, Goddess, Durga, etc. What are you doing? It's an internal soap that cleanses the inner instrument, Antahkarana, of the daily grime of accumulating raga dvesha. Raga dvesha means strong preferences, raga strong prejudices, dvesha. And when those preferences and prejudices one is not able to fulfill, i.e., when one is not able to keep at bay the things that one doesn't want, and one is not able to get what one wants, anger comes, krodha comes, delusion comes, avarice comes, and all these things, they just build up on one another, and before you know it, the person is a total mess. This is what is the problem. And so therefore, shaucha, which is an important, shaucha means cleanliness, which is an important value in Yoga Shastra and in the Bhagavad Gita and in the Upanishads also. This is a twofold shaucha. For the body we have soap. We have various kinds of soap. You can have Dove, you can have this, you can have so many kinds of soaps. And then for the mind we have meditation, various kinds of meditation. Because in that, the cobwebs are cleansed. So this cleaning has to be done daily. Just like we eat food daily, similarly we bathe daily. So the meditation has to be done on a regular practice, sometimes many times a day. This is something which is the second reason to meditate, to keep fit, and it's like a mental cleaning, and it's also like going to the gym to keep fit So that when you go to the gym and when you do yoga, and then what happens, the muscles are fit and you don't hurt yourself. The body is able to take in some stress without losing the immunity, without falling apart. Similarly, we make the mind strong from these two rakshasas, raga and dvesha. We make them strong from their constant attacks, making the heart an inner Kurukshetra, a battleground where dharma and the raga and dveshas, who are not concerned about dharma, always are in conflict. There is a conflict between what one wants to do and what one has to do, for example. So the mind is kept clean. The third reason meditation becomes, the third reason to meditate is so that one can bring oneself to the present. The present is a place. The present is a real present because it's a gift. It's a place where sorrow cannot exist. And I'll show you how presently. Because when you recall, you see, the thing is, when does one become sad or anxious? One becomes sad in recalling some omissions and commissions of oneself, or omissions and commissions of others towards oneself. Isn't that correct? Yeah, you become sad thinking, what did that other person do to me? Why did they do this to me? Or why did they not do this to me? They didn't even wish me on my birthday and I got them such a big present. How could they do this to me? Immediately one is sad. And then one becomes anxious again, thinking about the past or thinking about the future. So the future, OMG, what's going to happen? Will I get, what kind of a life will I have? And then if one is older, how will I die? Will it be quick and painless? Well, in some ways that's good because I don't have to experience any pain. But in other ways it is terrible. Why? Because I won't have time to say goodbye. But then should I have a protracted death? But then I'll be in bed, then I'll be dependent on people, and that's also not very nice. And so therefore what? So therefore the present is gone because the one is busy contemplating upon the future. And so therefore the present is right now. The now here is very interesting. When I say the word now, you can't measure now. How long is now? Are you here now? Yes. What about now? Yes. Now? Yes. Now? Yes. So you see, the now is unending. Now is not a length of time. Now is in fact the ruler that measures time. In itself it is timeless. That's why if I ask you, are you sad now? You'll never be able to say yes. Are you sad now? Well, no. Now? No. Now? No. And even if somebody were to say, yes, I'm sad now, then I will have to very nicely point out that that was then. That when you said you were sad, that moment has already gone. Now is free of sorrow. Now is Ishvara. Now is you. And meditation makes you connect to the now. Right now, I'm free. Right now, I'm whole. Right now, I'm connected. Right now, I am not anxious. Right now, is all there is. All there is now. And when you are one with now, you are one with Ishvara, because now is another name for Ishvara. This is what it is. I am now. This is a modern Mahavakya, so to speak. Yeah.
Samaniji, I have a quick thing. Sorry. There's a background hum in the audio. I'm wondering if yeah,
Is it
it's
gone
gone.
now?
It's gone.
Okay,
Perfect.
perfect,
Thank you.
perfect.
Thank you.
So then, the another reason to uh, to meditate is to discover one's identity, or rather, should I say, rediscover one's identity. If I ask you, who are you? This is not a Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi question, who am I? Generally, in the society, you will say, I am so and so, this is my name. And the next question, of course, the next identity becomes, what do you do? I'm an engineer, I'm a writer, I'm a teacher, I'm a health worker. So many answers one can give. I'm this, I'm that, I'm so and so. Correct? And so then the next set of identities become defined as what we call relational identities. I am a daughter. Because even in the passport, it'll be written, daughter of so and so, son of so and so, in any kind of government document. What is your father's name? What is your mother's name? And then I'm a daughter or a son. I'm a spouse, a wife or husband, and then I'm a mother myself or a father. So like this, these are the identities one has. One identifies oneself with in regard to one's possessions. I'm a homeowner. That's already a kind of a, with regard to one's possessions. One identifies oneself with regard to some kinds of what's the word for it, with regard to some mm, relationships, spouse, daughter, son, etc. But then these are very tenuous identities. If you say I'm 6 foot so and so, if you say define yourself by height, science has shown that that's not constant. As one grows older and older, the height becomes less and less. Sometimes one is hunched over like a question mark. Who am I? And so that height is not constant, weight is not constant. Hair is the color of hair, that is, if we have hair, that is not constant. Nothing is constant. And then relationships are not constant. So if you say I'm a spouse of so and so, maybe maybe that is not true after some years. Maybe one that is not correct. And again, if you say I'm the daughter and son of so and so, after some time the older generation passes away. Then so we are stuck with these identities that are extremely finite. The heart, whereas, my dear friends, the heart is geared towards the infinite, towards discovering the infinite as oneself. So therefore, this meditation, Saguna, the purpose, the primary purpose, I would say, of all the reasons I have given, this is really a very important reason. That's why I saved it till the last. A very salient reason to meditate is to discover and be at home with the identity, with a primary identity that will never go away. And what is that? The one to discover oneself as a devotee from the standpoint of the body mind sense complex. And this identity will not go away. Even after Atma Jnanam, even after understanding the truth of the self, after gaining self knowledge, one is still a bhakta. Jnani bhakta, a bhakta who knows that everything is one, I am that one. And so, therefore, the identity of the bhakta has to be discovered, and it is discovered in puja, all right, but it is discovered much more intimately in meditation. And then the whole life becomes much easier. Why? Because then one becomes, I become a devotee son, a devotee daughter, I become a devotee spouse, I become a devotee co-worker, employee, employer, I become a devotee mother, devotee father. This is very, very important, because it teaches one that the devotee I is performing the roles of mother, father, son, daughter, sister, brother, etc., spouse, co-worker, employer, employee. This is what the whole thing is. And so therefore it's the devotee that is front and center. So the troubles belong to the roles, not to the person. The problems in relationships, etc., belong to the roles. And then, as long as I am firmly ensconced in the identity of the devotee, they do not come and overpower the person. They don't foreshadow the person. In other words, the person and the role are one and the same. The role is no non separate from the person. However, the person is not the role. The person is devoted, is the devotee devoted to Bhagavan. So the problems of the role do not roll on to the person. This is why the meditation is very, very useful, a useful auxiliary aid in self discovery and self growth. So now we can see what are the ingredients of this meditation, how to meditate. And this, I'm just, and there are many forms of meditation in the Hindu Dharma, but I'm going to just take some of the, what should I say, pointers given at the end of the fifth chapter and the beginning of the sixth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So, what does Lord Krishna say? Lord Krishna says that first of all, he gives an instruction to Arjuna that this, whatever I have said, he says up till now, that it is important to have a say over the ways of the mind. And Arjuna is immediately dejected. Arjuna says, "What have you done to me? If you had asked me to grab a fistful of air and bring it to you, I would have considered that an easier job rather than grab the ways, grab the mind." And Lord Krishna very gently says, this is not about mind control. Just like it's not about anger control. What is the word we use? Anger management. So, mind management, the art of minding the mind, instead of saying never mind when the anger comes. Instead of coming under its spell, I am in the driver's seat. The mind is a blessing. It helps me to think, it helps me to navigate life, it helps me to infer, it helps me to conclude, it helps me to pick the right thing in life. So the mind is a privilege, and I'm not going to turn it into a slave of these recalcitrant and hard to manage raga and dvesha. So this is what is the teaching in the Bhagavad Gita. And so to meditate, the body has to cooperate. And so the meditation starts with the body, taking on the posture, as Gauravji mentioned right in the beginning. The head, neck, and line are the head, neck, and back are in a single line. Samam kaya shiro grivam धारयन्नचलं स्थिरः. Kaya, body, griva, neck, and shira, head, are in a samam, single line. And then this posture is held unchangingly for the duration of the meditation. Then what? Samprekshya nasikagram swam dishascha The eyes are softly closed, as we practiced in the beginning. And then what? And then the gaze is as though directed towards the tip of one's own nose. Meaning the eyeballs are not restless behind the closed eyes. And then, pranapanau samau kritva. We begin with stabilizing the breath. Taking some breaths, not even deep breaths, just a normal breathing pattern, but you make the inhalations as long as the exhalations, so that there is something to pay attention to, so that the mind naturally becomes calm and quiet. This is a very important thing. Then we have a very intriguing, before the japa. Then we start the japa, of course, but before the japa, we have a very intriguing, what's its name? Injunction. Sparshan bahyan bahihi kritva. Lord Krishna, up till now, who was making sense, suddenly seems to stop making sense when he says, keep the external world external. Arre, why is it called external world? Because it is outside of me, correct? Then how can I keep what is already external outside? This is very, very interesting, because this is all this, what is that, Freud and especially Carl Jung was so deeply influenced by Indian, Hindu spirituality. He acknowledges that this all came from Bhagavad Gita, because the mind has residues. We talked about this earlier, which the meditation cleans. And ironically, the mind has to be relatively cheerful and cleaned up in order to even be cleaned further. Very, very beautiful. Sparshan bahyan bahihi kritva. Having kept the external world outside of oneself, outside of the meditation situation. How to do that, we'll presently see. But this is very important, because it is assumed that the meditating person brings, the meditator brings with him or her a whole gamut of assumptions, notions, fears, tears from the past. And that is first kept outside in order to be able to be present with oneself in order to do the japa. And then there are certain injunctions, certain what's that, pointers given in the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita how to do this japa, and how to focus the mind on the, not only on the chant. Like, let us take for today, we can take Om Namah Shivaya. So we don't just focus on the chant Om Namah Shivaya, we focus on the space between the two chants, because that's where the distraction takes place. Om Namah Shivaya is easy. Om Namah Shivaya. Next Om Namah Shivaya also easy. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. We tell the mind to think Om Namah Shivaya constantly, in and keep other thoughts at bay. We tell the mind to think every thought should be Om Namah Shivaya. It goes very well for the first four Om Namah Shivaya. Then what is the fifth thought? Is anything happening? I have been meditating. Kuch ho raha hai? Something is happening or not? No, 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 no. Then the mind is repeatedly brought, gently brought back. Yato yato nischarati. Whenever the mind moves away, tatas tatas niyam yetat. Bring that gently back. Gently, like a loving mother would bring the child back, if it is just a toddler going in the traffic or going out of the curb. The mother or the father, the gently and lovingly would bring the child back. Similarly, you are the mother to the mind now, and you bring the mind back, and you focus on the spaces between the chants. That's where the distraction tends to take place. And no matter how many times the mind wanders, you bring it back. In fact, one cannot complain that the mind wanders, because wandering is a nature of the mind. Chanchalam hi manah Krishna, Arjuna complains. And yes, you know, Bhagavan Krishna, Lord Krishna agrees, yes. This is mind has to be chanchala. If it is chanchala, it is not the mind. Otherwise, how will you perceive? How will you have quick reflexes? How will you jump out of a dangerous situation? It is because the mind keeps moving. That's why you are able to perceive all kinds of things. That's why you are able to respond to situations, to react to danger. But here, we are not stopping the mind from moving. We are having a say over the ways of the mind. We are just giving it a thought, and of course, it will get distracted. We are gently bringing it back. So now, without further ado, without further any much more talk, let us get into the place of meditation. Assuming the position which I'm sure you're familiar with, wherever you're sitting. And if you don't need to lean against the back of the chair or the cushions, gently come forward, eyes softly closed. Paying attention to the breathing without trying to change the pattern, just making sure the exhalation and inhalation are of the same length. The eyeballs are not restless. Focus towards the tip of the nose. Hands are gently clasped on the lap. Sparshan bahyan bahihi kritva. Keeping the outside world outside a very intriguing injunction. We can appreciate this when we can do some visualizations. I visualize a range of mountains. In relation to the mountains, it's easy to see that I am a appreciative, contented, non demanding, and objective person. What does this mean? I don't wish the mountains to be taller or the peaks to be of a different shape or size. However, the mountains are, they just bring me joy. Rather, they evoke the joy that is already I. Now I visualize a river. Again, in relation to the river, I am an objective, non demanding, contented, and appreciative person. I don't wish the water to flow faster or slower, or for the river to be wider or narrower. In other words, I'm perfectly happy with how the river is. I have no agenda for the mountain or the river. This is my nature. Now I visualize the Father. Immediately one can see the difference between the Father and the river, for example. The river is part of the external world. The Father is both external and internal. In other words, internalized in the form of expectations. This is what Lord Krishna means, keep the outside world outside. retaining the love and care for the father. I just tell myself this is how father was or is in my perception. The words in my perception are important because I acknowledge my subjectivity. This is how father is, this is how father was. Next step is to take the time to grant the father the freedom to be exactly how he was or is. The extent to which one is able to do it is the extent to which one is free of carrying the burden of unmet expectations, unmet and unmeetable expectations. Mother. This is how mother was, mother is in my perception. Retaining the loving and caring for the mother, I take the time to grant her the freedom to be who she was, who she is. This is how mother was, mother is in my perception. The more I do this, the more I free myself from the expectation that the mother should be different, should have changed. The more I'm able to do this, the more I'm in touch with the appreciative, non demanding, contented, and objective being, the truth of myself. Spouse. This is how the person is. Spouse, significant other, anybody in your life currently, children. Visualize the person. This is how person is. Take the time to grant the person the freedom to be who they are. Om, Om, Om. If there are still regrets, disappointments in connection to the people that we have visualized, offer it up as a prayer. Hey Bhagavan, grant me the ability to change the things I can. Grant me the courage to accept the things I cannot change. Grant me the grace and the wisdom to know the difference between the things that can be changed and those which have to be accepted. Next, I come to the body. Visualize the body as though it is seated in front of the full length mirror. This is how the body is. Many things about the body that cannot be changed: height, general weight, color of skin, predilection to certain diseases, chronic ailments. This is how the body is. I grant it to be to be free, to be whatever it is right now in the moment. Astu eva, let it be what it is. Feel the relief. Let the stomach hang out. Don't have to suck it in. Let the shoulders relax without becoming earrings. Just noticing the body and allowing it to be whatever it is right now. Now I move to watch the mind. Is it external to me or is it internal to me? Without shunning the thoughts or chasing after them, I just watch the thoughts, perched on the throne of the witness, Sakshin. Now we place a mantra in the quietened mind. For now we can just use Om Namah Shivaya. Om, a sound which means Bhagavan, which means you, and everything that might be in between notionally, separating the two. Namaha, surrender. Shiva, that which is auspicious, free of papa punya, raga dvesha, which is the truth of myself. Shiva is the quintessential, appreciative, non demanding, impartial, objective being who is all Ananda. That is the truth of the Lord. That is the truth of myself. I connect to this truth in the form of an invocatory chant, invoking Bhagavan as the truth of myself, as Lord Shiva. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Just listen to the chant and listen closely to the spaces between the chants. And when I stop chanting, you can take up the chant mentally. Om Namah Shivaya. 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 Om. Allow the chant to stop. See the difference. If you can sense it. Acknowledge the non demanding, appreciative, objective, and contented person as I. This is what is called being oneself in meditation, simply being by connecting to the being Ishvara. One is already, of course, connected to Ishvara, but in the meditation we highlight this connection. Being oneself is easy. Being oneself is effortless. And if you are comfortable with being yourself, you can acknowledge that. I am comfortable being myself. This means I don't need any comforting from outside. At least for today, perhaps I can even be a source of comfort to someone in need. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. When you're ready, you can slowly open the eyes. And I will hand this back to Gauravji. If there are any questions, you can let me know. I don't know how much time you may have going, or if we should end the meeting right now. I'm fine with that as well. Yes.
Thank you, Swaminiji. I think people are still in a quiet, calm space, but I'd encourage people to come back and ask questions or reflections or thoughts on uh, on the meditation we did today or any part of the talk. I invite everyone to comment.
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, namaste, Arshaji. See, what I understood by meditation that you taught, the being is consciousness, right? Being is another form of consciousness. And when you are teaching us doing meditation, I was feeling quietness, but the rate of breathing was decreasing, in the depth of the breathing of decreasing. And I pressured little bit pressure at the back of my head initially, but then it went away when I tried to focus on the spaces. And then ultimately, when we finished, when you said that you don't chant anything, I was feeling like a floating, and it was just a quiet means I mean, I cannot describe in words, but it was a feeling of satisfaction and quietness.
Yeah, see, that is all normal. And what is the question? Did you have a question?
Yeah, that being is considered as a
Yeah, being.
consciousness.
Yeah, see, consciousness is you. Consciousness is Ishvara. The what we say the bheda, the difference between the two is upadhi vashat. Upadhi means there is no, there is no English translation. You can at most say upadhi. That's all. There is no translation. It's as though the nama rupa, which as though holds that consciousness. We can say. So it's consciousness is not trapped or held, but it pervades the body mind sense. It pervades your body mind sense complex. It is in fact you, and you are indwelling this body mind sense complex called this jiva body. And then the same consciousness from the standpoint of the universe, the equipped with the power to create and to project this universe and to take it back and to sustain it, etc., is called Ishvara. Ishvara is also Ishvaratvam is a upadhi, Jivatvam is a upadhi. And upadhi is mithya, it's an as though attribute of this consciousness, which is free of name, form, attributes. You have understood that correctly. Yeah.
Mhm.
And all the sensations during meditations, Gaudapadacharya, the grand guru of Adi Shankara, Adi Shankara's guru's guru, says that these are normal and let them be. One option, and some meditators, some meditations do this. They start going into the sensations, but then you can only get a certain amount of depth by going into the sensations. If you desist going into or going along with the sensations, whatever they may be, and instead focus on being watching the sensations, you go actually a lot deeper. Yeah.
Yeah.
Other questions?
Yeah, I have one. This is Narayanan. It was a
Namaskar.
very, nice guided exercise that we went through, right? To migrate from a guided meditation to an unguided meditation, right? And that requires a different type of training of the mind, right? Because when, as a human being, when I close my eyes, since I don't see anybody else through using my, eyes, I'm
Yeah.
only looking at myself. So when you
Yeah.
asked us to assume several roles, father,
Yeah.
mother, and all those things, so I mostly am recollecting information from the past,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So how do you convert that into the now that you were alluding to in the meditation process?
Yeah. Lord Krishna gives two words he uses. How to make that an actuality in the everyday. He uses abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. The mind is grasped. The mind, you have a say over the ways of the mind by these twofold formula. One is abhyasa, repetition. So this is called an antaranga sadhana, an inward practice, which is what meditation is. So the more you practice, the more adept a meditator you become, the easier it is for you to confront the situations in life meditatively. So, from I as a jiva, as a person who is engaging in the act of meditation, I become meditative, where it's no longer an act or an effort. I become a meditative person, meaning even when the eyes are open and when the head, neck, and back are not in a straight line, and the eyes are not, not moving around, and the hands and legs are not moving around, even when I'm not in the posture, the my attitude is the one of a meditator. I'm meditative towards my relationships. I'm meditative and objective towards the things that I have to do. So the whole thing is that the meditation, when it's practiced repeatedly, seeps into the quote unquote non-meditative life, which we in the beginning it is a very easy to cordon that off. In fact, it is advised. But then as we grow, as one grows into this practice, and as one grows emotionally and gains emotional maturity, then the whole world is Ishvara, and one is always engaged in an act of contemplation, prayer, meditation. So that is one thing. Then the second thing is Vairagya. Vairagya means objectivity. Dispassion, meaning I'm able to see things for what they are. And therefore constantly this offloading the mother and the father and other stowaways in the mind becomes very important. And this can be done silently. This can be done very, very silently. You can do it at office. You can take 2 minutes. If something is bothering you, go back to the primary caregivers, because that's where everything else builds up. The primary quote unquote caregivers. Okay, so then because of that, then there is all this other build up. So then I'm able to appreciate the fact this is how they are, because you know you cannot change anybody. So all the mother, so you're not carrying the mother or the father. The mother and the father are in their place. They are, they are there. They are however they were, however they are there. But you're carrying the feelings. You're carrying the emotions, the unresolved emotions with regard to the parents. And so that means that one is carrying mother issues, father issues that are impinging upon the present time. And those issues are first suspended and then worked on and resolved. And that working on is a process. It cannot happen overnight. You write it out, you talk about it in therapy, or you have a yoga practice, you neutralize it through prayer. That is, of course, the way of the Shastra. The Hindu Dharma says neutralize it by prayer. How? You Ishwarize the mother and the father, this, and you make peace with your parentage. This is how it is. This is how it was. That I'm the middle child. This is what it was meant to be. That I'm the oldest one full of responsibilities. This is how it was meant to be. That I'm the younger one wearing hand me downs forever and ever. This is how it was meant to be. So you Ishwarize your background. You Ishwarize the parents. This is the real meaning of Matradevo Bhava, Pitradevo Bhava in the Taittiriya Upanishad. It's not look upon your mother as God and father as God. No. It means be the one to who in whose understanding mother is non-separate from Bhagavan. May you be the one in whose understanding father is non-separate from Bhagavan. That means what? I don't look upon the mother as Bhagavan. I see that this is exactly how it is. That which is unchangeable and that which is infallible is Bhagavan. And therefore, I'm able to make peace with my background. And this peaceful person then embarks on meditation. So it's a process. So abhyasa, vairagya. Very good question.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Yeah, this is Ganapati. Namaste, Mahadeh.
Om, om.
Uh, uh, what I am somewhat confused by, or whenever we say guided meditation, what bothers me is once I am being guided, that means I am already externally looking up to something or somebody telling me what to do, right? So that in and of itself is a factor that tells me I'm not meditating. I'm not within myself. And the same thing can be also expanded when I say I have to think of Namah Shivaya. That means you're telling me I have to do something that is not in me. So there is that conflict that I sense there.
Yeah.
And I want to understand that.
Yeah, thank you for being so candid with it. And in so doing, I'm sure many other people are also inspired, because this is a question that many people have. And I alluded to it right at the beginning itself. Because if there is a sense of disconnection, and you telling me to connect is not going to help. And if, so this is what we talked about right in the beginning. So that's why it's called, yeah, to a certain extent you are correct. The guided meditation could be like an oxymoron. I mean, what is there to guide? And but at the same time, then all that is Bhagavan is also something that is not understood in the daily life. In the daily life, one has pain, one has sorrow, and one has fear. One is confronting the world as someone who is all alone and without help, and one is constantly insecure. One is wanting to prove oneself. One is having some kind of a notion of alienation. And so this is also there. This is people's empirical reality. This is experienced. It is mithya because it is not ultimate, and it is a dependent reality. So it is not there, for example, as I pointed out, in sleep. So it is definitely, but it has a certain sense of being. And so the guided meditation is on the level of this empirical plane where this disconnection is experienced, where the pain and the sorrow is experienced, and where this sense of alienation from the whole is experienced. And then, having said that, the other thing is this, we have to be honest with ourselves, just like you have been in this question. And we have to see that we are not averse to taking help in other areas. Like, the word guru has made it into the English dictionary, no problem. So there are all kinds of gurus. We go to stock market gurus, because I don't know where to invest the money, so you please help me, we tell the person. We go to cooking guru, dancing guru, cha cha cha, and then we go to what else, music guru. We go to all kinds of gurus. We have no problem in taking help. But when it comes to something as intimate as oneself and spirituality, there seems to be some resistance. There seems to be some issue. And that is common. It is common because this is something to do with me. Cooking is easy. I can ask somebody, please teach me how to do this, or please teach me how to invest my money better. And there is even one life guru, life coach, which celebrities hire to make some simple decisions what to wear today, so that they don't have a what's that, wardrobe malfunction or a breakdown, mental breakdown. So this is but when it comes to something so intimate as self discovery, as connecting to Bhagavan, which seems to be a very private issue, how do I how do I have the courage, or what is the need to invite somebody else into my life to tell me what to do? This is a very interesting thing. And it's again a paradox. Vedanta and Hindu dharma is full of these kinds of paradoxes, which are very, very interesting. So this is a paradox. But then that is why we have the concept of Shraddha. We see the parampara. Thankfully, the guided meditation or even the guidance is not based on a person. It is based on a timeless text, Bhagavad Gita, and even more timeless spiritual works, the Upanishads, which are not written by a being, which are channeled by sages in states of meditation. So because it is entirely authorless, it becomes safe. That's where the thing is focused on. This is not a cult. The Guru Shishya Parampara is not a cult, because the knowledge is of whether of meditation or Vedanta, it's not based on the person. The personality doesn't come into the picture. You know, Yenaiva Margena, by which path the Guru walked, that path was given by his Guru, her Guru, completely without prejudice. That is what the thing is. So that's where we help ourselves to cultivate what is called Shraddha. Shraddha means it's not blind belief, it is trust pending understanding. Yes, all these sages and saints have crossed because of the teaching. Even Kabir, the saints like Kabir and Mirabai had gurus. They talk about that. And so if they have been able to be helped, perhaps I will also be helped by listening, by taking guidance. And so this is how we help ourselves to cultivate Shraddha. And as the Bhagavad Gita says, of all the qualities, a resolved mind, desire to study, all this, of all the qualities, Viveka, Vairagya, etc., Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. The one that is equipped with Shraddha gains this knowledge. This is the promise made by the Bhagavad Gita. Very, very beautiful promise. And then in the Samaveda there is a very beautiful chant. Shraddhaya Shraddha Shraddhaya Ashraddham Stara. Cross the lack of Shraddha, cross the doubting mind by the bridge of Shraddha. This is very beautiful. Shraddhaya Ashraddham Stara. So the deliberate cultivation of this Shraddha, another not very easy word to translate, trust pending understanding. This is not a blind belief. You have to say I'm saved, and or you have to believe in something, and then after dying you will go to heaven and you will be one with Bhagavan. It's a non-verifiable belief. This is not a non-verifiable belief. It's a vision which is you already, and which has to be discovered after removing all the things, especially self-ignorance that doesn't belong. And so this is a verifiable belief, and it's a belief, therefore, pending understanding. So I cultivate the Shraddha to overcome the difficulties in meditating when I start questioning so many things, because I see that it is beneficial. So I am able to suspend the difficulties and love them up and integrate them. That is the idea. Other questions?
Any other questions or comments online? Wonderful. Swaminiji,
Thank you.
thank you very much for
Thank you.
joining us so early in the morning from India. Really appreciate your flexibility with this. I'd
Thank
like
you.
to invite everyone to join us in closing prayers. Please sit comfortably. This is Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. So please sit comfortably in any posture, sitting with the back straight but not stiff, back, neck, and head in a straight line. Close your eyes gently and relax the expression on the face. Relax your shoulders, relax your belly. Bring your palms together in Namaskar Mudra at the heart center. We're going to chant Om once and then the closing prayer Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. Exhale completely.